My wife cheated with her ex-boyfriend while I was in the military. I had been with my wife since 2013-14, I thought she was the woman of my dreams, I was coming out of a sexless marriage and was enjoying single life, then I met her and my world stopped, I fell in absolute love with her, so much so I blinded myself and allowed myself to be blamed/manipulated into believing that everything was my fault. I was active duty military at the time. My mind and heart were telling me something was not right, but I allowed myself to be manipulated. It started after our daughter was born in 2016, she stopped wanting me to go down on her for some reason. We had an amazing sex life already, but it went from once a day to 2 to 3 times a day. I was not complaining, I was enjoying. I decided to ignore the warning signs and enjoy. It was great. The fight started. Out of nowhere I would get a text at work, no big deal, but if I didn't respond right away it was an issue, or I didn't respond how she wanted. She was tired and wasn't sure how much longer she could live like this. She made me feel it was my fault, blaming me for being distant, which I wasn't, for not communicating, which we did. Then came the part she said she was falling out of love with me cause I wouldn't go down on her anymore, something she put a stop to, but after some time she turned it into my failure. I didn't realize it then, but now I do. The trips started, girl trips or me time trips. She would go visit family to get away so she could clear her head. I didn't think too much of it cause we did just have a kid, we moved to a new state and she just started nursing school, so I was like cool, go do your thing. Oh, how wrong I was. Once the trip started, our roller coaster ride became so crazy. She would tell me how great I was and how lucky she was to have me as her husband in the morning after she would wake me up for sex. Then by lunch she hated me because I wasn't providing more money on my military pay. By dinner she was back to normal and we would have our nightly fuck and I would go to bed drained and happy, while she stayed up doing homework most of the night. Not knowing at the time she was exchanged text and pics with dudes and she was getting worked up and would wake me up to fuck again. Like I said earlier, I was enjoying the sex life even more and I chose not to listen to my heart. In 2017 and 2018, it turns out she had cheated on me with her ex. Everything, she would go back to her mom's in Detroit, multiple visits, but the one that haunts me to this day and I still hurts, she went to Detroit, fucked her ex on my birthday weekend, left me at home to be dad while she got to go be a whore. December 2018 was when I finally snapped back into reality for a brief time. She went to Detroit and the next day called me professing her love for me and swore she was all in and decided that she was happy again and wanted to be my wife. I told her I knew she did something and wanted her to tell me, but no matter how hard I pushed she wouldn't break. She had fucked her ex. Only reason she decided to be all in with us now was because they got caught and he chose his wife instead of a whore. Unfortunately, I didn't find this out until a while later from his wife. So now I have multiple times of her cheating that I know of. We had a long talk, but at the time she never admitted. She just said she is happy now and wants to be my wife again. LOL, she was always my wife. So many red flags I missed. I was so manipulated into thinking it was my fault. I was too blind to see the truth and warning signs, especially when she asked me to take orders overseas for the extra money, and I did, like a dumbass. Only to be met with weekend hotel visits, cause she needed a break from our kids. She finally admitted to fucking her ex one time. At the time I knew it was bullshit. The voice in my head saying run, take the kids and get away from her toxic ass was so muffled that I couldn't hear it anymore. I returned home after a year overseas, to a very distant woman, clearly not my wife anymore. The spark was gone. We had always had a great sex life, but that spark was gone. When I got home we had sexy once or twice and it wasn't fun, it was just better than perking off. Fast forward another year, I have been gone 9 months out of 20 on deployments, my last one ever in the military. 1 month before I come home for the final time, my wife started a fight with me. It was petty and she wanted me to fight, so I did. She used that fight to magically proclaim we was separated and 6 days later had a girlfriend living in our brand new house that I bought while on deployment and haven't stepped foot in yet. Had a woman sleeping in my bed, a key to my house. Worst of all, she allowed this woman to put my princess to bed. I didn't believe all of it, but it was very clear the moment I stepped off the plane that everything was different. She no longer cared about me and was being openly cheating. I was crushed. All the shit I had been saying wasn't real for years and convincing myself was just my head making shit up, finally came crashing over the dam I built in my mind, and I was crushed. I have never been so heartbroken, so defeated. I did my best to hold back tears and pain, but it was terrible. I was home 1 month when I decided my kids would be better off without me in their lives because I was such a failure and loser fuck up, that I contemplated ways to take myself off the living playing board. I checked myself into a mental health facility, and an angel named Shannon saved me, made me realize it's not me, it was never me, it was her, and her manipulation. I had a role in all of it, but I wasn't the cause. She was the light in my darkness and she led me back to my path. My wife manipulated me and was such a shitty person, a person I was so madly in love with that I let that blind me to reality. Today we are separated, I have retired from the military, I have the house and the kids, I am happy. I don't tell people everything that happened because I am more ashamed, but I also don't want to ruin my kids' vision of their mom. Once I get all my retirement money in order, I am filing for divorce and I couldn't be happier. Codependency is a bitch to get over. Captain Fixaho was my biggest enemy. Myself. There is a lot more to this story, but I think I have rambled enough. Know that she wants to work on us now that I have zero desire to do so. She is pushing for therapy for us, but I told her it would be just me telling her what a piece of shit person she is for an hour, and I still want to move forward with the divorce. Second story. As the title suggests, I, 28F, have a horrible past when it comes to romantic relationships. I got into a relationship with my partner, 29M, in 2016, we got engaged in 2018, married in 2020, and had a child in 2023. I have never been faithful throughout my relationship with him until 2020. I had an online affair with someone, let's call them X. X had been horrible with communication. I loved X a lot, but he blocked me on social media multiple times and from his posts. I know he was seeing someone else too. I gave up on ever being with X. I told my husband everything about my past. In 2021, he was broken, but we both stayed because we wanted a chance at this relationship. He suggested I take therapy, which I did. I continued for a few months, 2022 to 2024, and after the birth of the child, I told him that I am fully aware of my flaws and I would like to be celibate. He should consider separation/divorce. I have no interest in being with anyone else because that will affect my capability to be a good mother to my child. I have tried very hard to be fully committed to my husband, but one, he obviously has unresolved trauma from me cheating in the past, very understandable. I have asked him to consider therapy, but he refuses because it's not his fault. 2. Ever since we reconciled in 2021, I knew he needed time and never forced any intimacy/physical relationship onto him. However, I did give him an out when I got pregnant because I wouldn't want to be with anyone who doesn't trust me. I birthed the child and took care of him for over a year. Now my husband still has moments of insecurity and randomly rejects my advances to be intimate. Not sex, just a hug after a long day of work and taking care of a baby. This happened 2 to 3 days ago. He said that I should be willing to be in the relationship for the rest of my life without any intimacy, because I screwed up, but yesterday he, editing cause I left this part out, wanted to be intimate again. I don't want that anymore. I didn't expect intimacy from him. 3. X lives in another country and I have never met him in person. I knew him since childhood, but we have never met each other after our affair started. I have always had strong attraction towards X, but I have given up on him multiple times throughout these years because he always shuts me out and never had any proper conversation about what he wants. After the birth of my child, he said he wanted to have a family with me provided I abandon my child. I am not doing that. I can go celibate my wild life, but I will not abandon my child. 4. My husband has been a very good man to me. He has given me a chance after my screw-ups and he supports me for my dreams. He buys me expensive gifts. I know he is trying his best, but I don't care about the gifts. I just care about intimacy, which I know is wrong for me to expect from my husband because it's my fault for hurting him. It is also wrong for me to expect intimacy from X, for obvious reasons. I hate myself for being like this. The primary reason I never walked away was because my husband has given me a lot in life. I don't just want to throw the man away. I want to support him financially and help him achieve his goals in life. I just cannot be physical with him or anyone else because of my unresolved feelings for X, which I'm probably gonna take with me to my grave. What should be my approach here? Any suggestions, comments? It sounds like your husband doesn't want to leave you, which I see is strange, but he is hurting and struggling. I think the most you can do if he still wants to be with you is acknowledge that he isn't going to heal as fast as you may want. If this is too much for you and not what you want for your life, you have to make the executive to leave him and focus on you and do what you want. But if you do end up staying with him, you have to be patient. Brother is hurting so unbelievably bad, and the fact that he is still with you after knowing is an absolute blessing. You need to become a person worthy of that blessing. Pour love and energy into transforming yourself into a better person for you, him and your family. Take action to acknowledge why you cheat and make sure you don't do it again. Blocking ex, deleting social media, always introducing yourself to people as a married woman, etc. Be truly and deeply remorseful. Maybe turn to God and pray for grace and forgiveness. Good luck and God bless.